Hi everyone, Brett from Booney Hicks. Now in my hand I have a very old skillet. You might recognize it. It's my 3rd series Erie Skillet made by the Griswold Manufacturing Company. Now this week we're going to have a look at the condition of this pan. So whether you're new to cast iron collecting or if you are thinking of purchasing a pan yourself, there are a few considerations to think about, and the most important is the condition of the pan before you part with your hard-earned money. So we're going to have a look at this pan. You'll be able to compare this one to one that you're interested in, either online or if you're going to a garage sale at a flea market, and you'll be able to make hopefully an informed decision. So let's check it out. These pans are highly collectible, and you can probably see why. Just looking at it, it's cool, right? It has a real old world charm to it. A lot of people including myself, like the super smooth cooking surfaces. It's not as textured as modern pans. Now let's take a look at the condition. First, you may want to check on the sidewalls. You want to see if there's a little hairline crack. So I'm going around the pan just to check if there's any hairline cracks. There's nothing visible along the side. You may want to check along the rim as well. Now if there is a little hairline crack, then you may want to inspect either side of the sidewalls. Of course, you want to have a look on the inside of the sidewalls. It's probably one of the clearer visible signs or places you can look for any cracks. Now, hopefully the camera can pick it up. It's a very cloudy day in the kitchen, so I don't have the best lighting, I'm sorry. But hopefully you can see along the sidewalls there are no hairline cracks, and that's a really good sign for this pan. So along the sidewalls, you want to have a look at the rim and the other side of the sidewalls, I should say. Another place where it's very common to crack is the handle. Now the handle, of course, will receive a lot of stress over years of use, and if it is to drop, it may drop. If it does drop on the handle, it could be a place where it's going to crack easily. Now I can see along here, there's nothing. Okay, there's no cracks whatsoever. And just checking again on the inside, very, very hard to see in the light, even for my eyes, let alone the camera, but I can see there's no cracks. Hey, so this pan is crack free. You could cook with a crack, but then you take the risk of the oil leaking out and going onto the element and then potentially causing a fire. So I think crack damage is the #1 thing you need to look out for when you're buying an antique pan. This one doesn't have it. Hey, it's a good sign. Next, you want to see if there's any wobble or movement in the pan. Yeah, how do you do this? Now, I have seen many people take a ruler and run it across the diameter of the pan and then check if there's any movement in the center, if it's rising up or down, and then you should be able to check if it's going to sit flat. That's particularly useful if you don't have a flat surface. But luckily we're in a kitchen today, and so we can just use the countertop or the bench top just to see if this pan sits flat. So how do you do that? Very easy. Just press quite firmly along the sides. Ooh, you can hear a little bit, and this indicates there could be a little bit of movement. For me, this is pretty much flat. Now, it's not uncommon to have a little movement, and even something like this would be very, very negligible. I think most sellers would say this is sitting flat. However, others may disagree with me. You can leave a comment below if you think, there is some movement in that pan. Now you really want to check if there is a lot of movement. It's called a spinner. Now, as we know, pressing, okay, I admit, there is some movement in that pan. Yeah, I take that back a little bit. It's pretty flat. It's good enough for me. Now, if it's a spinner, You may hear a term advertised online or in the listings. It's a spinner. This pan's a spinner. And that means if you press the handle, push the handle from side to side, it's going to move freely. So that's got a curve on the underside of the pan. So that won't sit flat. If you have a kitchen element such as an IH heater, so that could be something to consider. If you have an older or a coil element on your stovetop, it's less of a problem. But if you have a glass, ceramic or IH heater, you do want something that's going to sit flat. And particularly when these old pans, when they do heat, they will have naturally some movement as well. But that's, for me, that's flat. What do you guys think? The next thing you want to consider is the condition of the back of the pan. Now you can see the logo is quite crisp and clean on this one. And if you are going to become more of a serious collector, that's really one of the factors you may want to consider. How clean and crisp is the logo? Now, the base of this pan is looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it. Now, a lot of the old pans you may see before, well, hey, look, I've looked after this pan. I've stripped it and it has been reconditioned to the best of my ability anyway. There are some really talented people out there. If you are shopping and there's a lot of crud on there, flake off the crud, I wouldn't look over the pan simply because of that, because it can be conditioned just like this. You can just take that crud off. And that's the case, you could pick up the pan a lot cheaper. If it does have crud, I must say finding those cracks are hard, but you do take the risk. Now coming back to the base of the pan, you can see a little bit of pitting. Now for myself, I would consider myself a collector. Even for myself, I would overlook this. There's a little bit of pitting. Pitting comes from use on old wood or coal stoves with the sulfur coming in and slowly eating away at the metal. It's really not uncommon to have sulfur pitting, particularly on these really old pans like these Eries. Really, really common. Just a little bit here, a little bit here. Some collectors may overlook this pan. I wouldn't. I think this is really a tiny amount. And some pans are really covered. And as I'm sure you just may see one or two letters recognizing it as an Erie. It could be completely pitted. You could pick up that pan a lot cheaper, or you should pick up that pan a lot cheaper. Now, do you overlook it? I wouldn't overlook it. If it's still a usable pan, why not keep it? If it doesn't affect the usability of the pan, sure may collect the collectability. For the usability, not so much if it's pitted. I'm a big proponent of, again, protecting these old pans, keeping them out of the scrap heap. If it has pitting on the end, if it has pitting, it doesn't worry me. It really doesn't worry me. How about you guys? For me, this is nothing. But it is a consideration. Here we have the size number. Now this is a number 8. It's number 8 and number 9 are the most common sizes in the Erie range, right? So you are looking from sizes 6 to 12, I believe. Without checking information, I should know, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 to 12, sizes 6 to 12. 8 and 9 being the most common. Now, if you do find a 12 size 11 or a 12, 10, 11, 12, I should say, they're the bigger sizes, and they do command a higher price. You're really lucky if you find a pan with a big size. They are beautiful looking, just a big, bold pan. But size number 8, it's a very, very usable skillet. Perfect for daily use for most people. Sizes 8 and 9. But if you can find a bigger size, woohoo, fantastic. All right, so hopefully I've found some good lighting so you can see the interior of the pan. Now, of course, hey, if you're going to be cooking with your skillet every day, One thing you want to consider when looking at the condition of the pan is the cooking surface. So this could be the most important factor for you. You want to check for a few different things. Now it's hard for me. I've positioned the pan for the camera and not for myself. I'm going to have to bend down and see if I can find any flaws myself. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to see. Now I know there are some scratches along the side here. It's not uncommon for these old pans to have some scratches. I have found the smaller pans, well, if you're looking at the different pans, smaller sizes, 3, 5, 7, they have a lot of scratches, and I think the knife marks. I think they could be cooking cobblers or cornbread in these smaller pans. So I think a lot of them do have quite deep scratches. The bigger sizes, for some reason, I don't know why, they do have less, in my experience anyway, they do have less visible scratches. Now, no vintage pan is going to be scratch-free. If it is scratch-free, you may want to ask the seller if they have used a machine tool to make the cooking surface smooth. In which case, a lot of collectors like myself dislike people restoring pans by putting a sander on it. It doesn't hold the seasoning as well, in my opinion, and it detracts from the originality of the pan, of an antique pan. Small scratches, no problem. Hey, this pan is very, very good. Often you may see a little bit of pitting, particularly on the sides. I do have some pans with a little bit of pitting. It's not an ideal situation. You'd love a pan that's perfect, right? But if it does have a little bit of pitting, no problem. For me, a little bit of pitting or scratches on the cooking surface, they're going to fill in. They're going to fill in with seasoning or polymerized oil as you continue to use the pan. For me, this one is looking pretty good. And you may want to have a look at flea bites. Now, what is a flea bite? Now, this pan does have a few flea bites, and I can pick one up here. The camera may not pick it up. I'm struggling or straining to see it myself in this light, but there's a little indentation in the metal of this pan. A lot of old pans, hey, look, the manufacturing is not perfect, right? And so they just may have a little bit of indentation, flea bites. If they're not too big, they're going to fill in. This pan's looking good. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking pan. Very, very happy with the condition of this pan. Yeah, it's beautiful. Love cooking with it. Again, these old Erie skillets are super smooth. You should be very, very happy with the cooking surface, and they're much lighter than old pans as well, or modern. These pans are lighter than many older pans, particularly the modern pans. That's what I should have said. Yeah, a lot of people love old Erie skillets. Now today we went over the condition of this pan. It's a pan that's in very good condition, but it's not perfect, is it, right? So you did see a few flaws, even in quite a collectible pan. But well, hopefully by looking at these flaws, it could help you in your purchase finding a pan. And Erie's a good choice. Thanks, guys.